Hey everyone, I wanted to do a quick video today to show you this new classic satchel I got in from a good friend of mine, David Alexander, in Mansfield, Texas. He made this and sent it to me, basically borrowing it with an option to buy it if I like it. So just wanted to show you guys, I got it in the mail today, and it's in a veg tan. It's a Tandy's highest grade of veg tan. It's hand dyed. It's kind of a rustic look. The hardware is, I thought it was solid stainless steel, but he said he thinks it's brass with a silver matte finish on the hardware. And you can see it's got trigger snaps on the hardware. One thing I think is cool is these rotate. So it's good for letting the strap relax. Oops, dropped the bag. Let me see if I can get these straps open. It's very stiff right now, but this will loosen up. Veg tan loosens up and softens with use. Holds its structure really well though. Let me see if I can do this here. 1 second. Okay, so here is the flap, and you can see it kind of angles in towards the center. I think that's cool. It does have a little overlap to give you some coverage. For example, if it's raining, see how the top overlaps a little bit? That's nice. I'll show you another feature of the interior side flaps in just a second. I went with a medium brown. I told him I like contrast. So I wanted a light blue stitching, like turquoise or any light blue, and he showed me a turquoise and then a marine blue, and I went with the marine blue stitch. I thought it really popped against this leather. I'll show you the back here too. More stitching on the back. You see there's double row here because there's a back pocket, full length pocket, and then some stitching at the bottom to hold the contents. A little gap for the side straps to slip through. We'll go over that in a second. Perfect stitching. All this is hand stitched. One thing he does too is he uses these instead of rivets. He was using rivets a lot, but he recently started using these Chicago screws, whereas opposed to a rivet where you either compress it with a rivet setter, or if in the case of copper rivets you hammer the burr to hold those in place. These you just unscrew with a screwdriver and you can replace as needed. I'll show you that here. You can see the bottom of those. Just replace them with a screwdriver if you need to. These are rivets on these permanent set ones are rivets. Probably compression rivets if I had to guess. Looks like it. So these are the side flaps I was talking about. He has his logo very faintly impressed there. I like that. It's not in your face, but it's there if you need to find the maker. It's right here as well. Pastor David's Leather. And again, it's David Alexander in Mansfield, Texas. You can see the interior is simple, one wide open space. These flaps open, but again, provide some protection for privacy, so that if someone tries to slip their hand in there when it's closed, it kind of blocks them a little bit. Also protects from the weather. So, beautiful bag. David has only been doing this for a couple months, I think. But he has come a long way. It's really awesome stitching. He was like perfect at his hand stitching almost immediately. So I like the strap. I'll show you that. One wide strap. If I had to guess, this is probably 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches wide. I didn't measure that before, but it's one layer of leather, which I prefer because it's very flexible, but because it's thick, it's strong. But when this sits on your shoulder, see how you can flex that almost flat? well, you're not going to have any binding up on your shoulder, wrinkling and causing ridges and bumps that make the strap uncomfortable. So you don't need a strap pad for these. You can add one if you want later, but these don't need a strap pad because it's very comfortable. One layer of leather, you wouldn't think that would be that comfortable, but when it's so flexible like this, it just lays there and you hardly even notice it's there. So this one thing I wanted to say, oh, this is 14 inches wide by 10 inches tall by 4 inches deep. Cool thing about David's bags, he lets you kind of pick and choose the dimensions within reason, I'm sure. Probably charge a little extra if he had to completely redo a new model, but he was doing a lot of 12-inch, and I said, hey, could you just bump it out 14 inches for me? And he did that, and I wanted a little bit, if I remember correctly, I wanted a little bit more depth, so I got a 4-inch depth. The other thing that he let me kind of help with the design on, or asked my input on, is how this handle should attach. And so we went through some options, whether it just stops here, whether it goes, the strap goes under these side straps, and so then you would thread the side straps over this to, and then under this. And we thought about going under, and I thought, well, if you're riveting the strap here, like in the center, as you lift the handle, it can have a tendency to splay these side straps off to the side. So I said, if it looks like you can put your rivet outside of the strap, or inside this strap rather, right here where the tension stops before it would pull on this side strap, then do that. Otherwise, go over it, and then that'll just be another security feature for these side straps to hold them in place better. And he went with that, and it looks like it's awesome. This strap, this middle handle, just stands up as needed. It's very classic, easy to get your hand under there. You don't have to mess with it and lift the handle up. Like, for example, briefcases that have handles that fold down and stay flat until you need them, you lift them up. This is just in perfect position. So if this is in your passenger seat and you need to jump out and get in the office real quick, you can just grab this and go. You don't have to mess with complicated handles. So it's beautiful. I love it. Very classic design. Very light. I tried to weigh this on the bathroom scale. I need to take it to my postal scale at work and see what it actually weighs, but it barely budged. I put the strap and the bag on the scale, and it didn't even go to 5 pounds. So I don't know if that's accurate or not. It's kind of hard to tell on a bathroom scale if that's accurate, but very lightweight, no lining, so no unnecessary weight from lining and glues and things like that. However, it's very robust. The hardware is really high quality from the Buckle guy, he said. He's very impressed with their quality of their hardware, as am I. I've had stuff from them before with different makers, and I've bought some hardware from them before. These are removable side straps. So one thing I don't like about some bags with the side straps is that if it's not one solid design on the interior, like for example the Saddleback classic briefs where they have the divided interior, you have this bunching up, gusseting of this, and it kind of messes with the side straps. And when I had a classic brief that was divided like that, I seemed like I messed with the side straps a lot because they were always hard to get even. Like one would be way down, sticking way down, one would be tighter, one would be looser, and I was always fiddling with them, trying to get them even, and so I just kind of got tired of that. I have suggested the Saddleback that they do a single space classic brief, which would be similar to their small that they no longer offer. They've done limited editions of the smalls. It's just one open compartment, and I've suggested that they do that because I think a medium classic with that design, or even a large classic with that design with one big open compartment, would be very usable, because you could put larger items, thicker items in there without having to limit your space, because each interior compartment is only half as wide as it could possibly be. So you can put a lot bigger things, like a really big, couple of really big thick textbooks or whatever like that. So I just like the undivided interior. Then I can use whatever organizational system that I like. Cable bags, dividers, you know, leather dividers, or I even rip the backs of notebooks off, and you know, the hard binders, I'll tear the back off of an old one, cut it off, and use that as a thin divider. It's a nice rigid divider, but I'll put that in the middle of my bag, put things in front of it and behind it, and it kind of makes a nice floating divider there. So you don't need a lot of interior pockets, I don't believe, because you can have bags. You know, the saddleback wallet cases are perfect for that too, if you need some smaller bags to organize your interior. But anyway, sorry for the long video. This is longer than I intended. I just wanted to come out here on the deck and do this real quick, but I wanted to show you this because it's just absolutely gorgeous. And thank you to David for letting me borrow this to check it out, and most likely I'll be buying it, but he told me just to check it out and use it for a couple months and see how I like it. But anyway, thank you for that, and if anyone has any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you when I can. Thank you. Goodbye.